Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Elseworlds Exchange, and happy Halloween month here on the show. I'm Sal.
I'm Joel.
We've been rolling out with a number of Halloween or spooktacular themed episodes, just as an initiative. Hey, like when it's a certain particular season with a certain particular theme, we can do a string of shows that are all part of that theme. This one is not necessarily tangentially connected. Literally, it's about Halloween. This is a Joel suggestion, which I kind of dug. It was just about Halloween costumes of past, present, and future. And maybe
literally what haven't we done yet? Something costumes, something candy was on my little notepad this morning.
It's true. We have not done candy yet. One day maybe, we'll see. But but I liked the idea of talking about our costumes because I put a lot of we all put a lot of effort into costumes and our own ideas and so like it's fun to acknowledge them, shine a light on costumes past that maybe didn't get a chance to really get a spotlight on them. The worst thing in the world is preparing for Halloween and then being in your costume and then finding out that you're not going anywhere or doing anything.
That more times than I care to admit.
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to talk about not only the costumes that we've made and done and performed, but also the times that those costumes are tied to, and perhaps what seminal moment in our period took place in said costumes. I know that there's a very dark period in my life. It's called high school, when my costumes were like ranged from nothing to something. And it's interesting how it's morphed and how Halloween itself has changed over the years since then. So before we begin, Joel, hope you're feeling better. Joel is under the weather. If you see a little bit of a less pep in his step, it's because of the illness.
Yeah, it happens. Everyone around me got sick this week. And it was that thing where you know you're getting sick because you got the little tickle in the back of your throat. And it's like, nah, it's fine. I can beat it. You can never beat it.
Nope. I'm always there, and I'm always sick, and it sucks. I completely hear you. With that in mind, Joel, what is your earliest costume memory?
Oh, man. I think when I was very young, I'm talking like 6 years old, I went as a Power Ranger. I wish photos of this still existed. But yes, I was totally a Power Ranger.
Which color?
I was red, of course.
Of course. I dressed as a Power Ranger once for like a church function for like kids. I was also the Red Ranger.
Nice.
The earliest costume that I can remember, I want to say it's actually a Ghostbuster.
Nice.
I think it was a Ghostbuster. I remember getting the jumpsuit from Ghostbusters 2. And I, of course, already had the proton pack, the particle accelerator, the trap,
obviously,
the plastic never stayed on your armband for Ghostbusters.
You were a man of culture and taste.
Yes. Now, of course, I think the presumption was to get it for Halloween, but I wore it all the time.
Naturally.
Because, naturally, the Ghostbusters, that's what they do for a living. That's their job. They don't wear that costume for special occasions, and neither did I. Though I do have to admit, I think maybe one of my earliest costumes was also Batman. I remember having a really bomb Batman costume. It was the cape and cowl attached.
Cool.
With a really nice like mask that went over it that was like a different material than the cape and cowl. The ears, of course, were like a little short, but like attached to the head. I don't know where the hell we got that, but
it's funny. I love comics, but I never did a superhero themed costume, and I'm kicking myself. I did do Star Wars one year. You better believe I did Star Wars, but I did the worst Star Wars.
Which Star Wars was that?
That was Phantom Menace before we even saw the movie. That year, I was Darth Maul, and I did the red face paint and the black, and my mom actually did my hair like little spikes and everything. And boy, did I live to regret that. But then kind of came around to it because Rebels and all the other shows made Darth Maul awesome. So that's
right.
Fine.
I mean, the reality is, like, Darth Maul objectively looked cool when he first debuted in the trailer. I still submit that Darth Maul sucks, and it takes, like, outside canon retconning to make him worthwhile, but, like, that's not you can't just be like, no, hang in there. I know that in the one movie he appears in, he's totally lame, but if you read all the novels and the cartoon show and the other cartoon show, you will get Darth Maul. Like, no.
Watch 3 seasons of Clone Wars and a whole season of Rebels, and we promise he's cool at the end of that.
If you take the character away from the person who created him and give it to anyone else whose sole preoccupation is making him relevant and cool, then you will like him. Like, well, then I like a different character.
Exactly.
But in that regard, I don't blame you. Dude, you're not alone. There's still kids getting their face painted with Darth Maul. I get it.
Of course.
I'm not going to blame you for it. I understand. Listen, I was all about Qui-Gon Jinn.
Nice.
And while I didn't ever try to pull it off, I couldn't pull off the hair. It just went up, didn't go down. But my buddy looked just like Qui-Gon. He looks like he has the Liam Neeson schnoz. He had beautiful flowing locks. He had a great Qui-Gon beard. He basically looked like he was cosplaying as Qui-Gon when he went to go see it.
Cool.
Of course, his mother made him an Obi-Wan Kenobi outfit years prior because they were Star Wars fans all the way through their upbringing. Actually, it's funny, when they went to go see Star Wars The Phantom Menace, he dressed as Obi-Wan and went to the theater, and everyone, like that, a good third, maybe, of the theater was dressed up. And so he's walking back. He got up to go to the bathroom and get a drink, so he's walking behind the theater. So everyone's sitting down, and his friend just yells out, "Oh my God, it's Obi-Wan Kenobi!" And everybody turns, because he was dressed as Obi-Wan Kenobi. He didn't know who Qui-Gon was. So They all turn around, they look at him, and he's just standing there like, and so he goes, "May the Force be with you." And then everyone cheered, because Star Wars fans, as we know, clap for anything. But also, it was a pretty baller moment for him. But he definitely, when Phantom Menace came out, he was Qui-Gon. He turned the Obi-Wan costume into the Qui-Gon costume.
The robes, I think, have to be the hardest part, because you can look at them online at costume shops, but they're pretty damn expensive, and they never look quite like the movie.
True robes are hard to come by. They don't fall quite as well. Like cheap costume robes, they're just sheets of fabric.
Yeah.
So it's not really going to work. Really quick, in the super chat, Noah Botello says, "Be happy you were only Darth Maul, Joel. My mom made me go as Jar Jar Binks one year." Now that
I was gonna say, there has to be someone.
That may be actual child punishment. You may be able to emancipate yourself from your parents for that one.
No judge in the world would look at that and be like, "Oh, that's some child abuse."
They made him wear Jar Jar Binks' costume. I'm sorry, you have to go.
No, wannabe Jar Jar.
No. Now, you could have argued, you could have been like, "Well, no, I'm not Jar Jar, I'm Captain Tarpus, who has a little shred of dignity."
There, I'm the good one.
But no, we all know what Gunga or Gungan you were. So yeah, as the years went on, I remember my mental idea of what a costume should be. I didn't know what cosplay was until I think 2006.
Yeah, I think that's when the word really caught on.
Right? I remember in Wizard Magazine, which, as you can see, I have a number of copies, when they started doing the costume contest for Halloween every year, I always wanted to participate, but part of the deterrent of doing it was that in the costume contest, Wizard staffers would post your picture and then either make fun of you or sexually harass you.
So you got the best of both worlds.
Right, so either way, either you were a woman, and so it was either like making fun of the fact that you were going to be ogled, or they did ogling. Or you were a comic book nerd in a attempt to wear a comic-accurate costume. Either way, you were getting roasted. But I remember, like, the grand prize winners were always people who had this unbelievable attention to detail. Crazy, really good detail. Like, where I remember seeing a full 90s X-Men team, and they won first prize. And there was like an Archangel with the wings, and he was blue. Cool. And I'm like, this is unbelievable. And those were cosplayers. What I didn't realize at the time was that those people did that professionally, or as professional as you can, But that blew my mind. But I remember as a kid wanting to have, like, I was a cosplayer at heart, because I was like, I don't want to be Batman where it comes out of a bag and I get like maybe a mask and it says Batman on my chest, like I'm an idiot, or like I'm Batman in an insane asylum. And
Batman forgot his own name.
Exactly. Like, just as Nam tab. Like, no, so I can see it right in the mirror. No, it's like I was very much like, no, it needs to be accurate. Like, oh, where can I get like yellow foam for belts? But my skills as a designer, as a craftsman, were certainly lacking, and so I never really accomplished what my mind's eye wanted me to do.
I think that's true of all of us, too.
Right?
I mean, I had great ideas in my mind, hard to bring them to fruition, and that's why I respect the professional cosplayers and all the workmanship that goes into everything they do.
Oh, totally. I will say another big costume of mine as a kid was the Ninja Turtles. I always wanted to be Donatello because Donatello is and always will be my favorite Ninja Turtle.
And he does machines.
And he does machines, which is something I really wanted to do as a kid, but again, no math, so, you know.
I mean, you're doing this show. This involves much in machines.
This is true, and we barely keep the lights on. But when it came to Ninja Turtles, the only real costume that was ever available to me was Raphael.
Yeah.
Not my least favorite turtle. I liked Raphael, but I had to. But that's all my options were, and so as a result, like, you know, I remember mixing and matching costumes. You know, like the Ninja Turtle costume came in like a bag, and you got like, if you got a good bag, you got like the hard shell, which is just made of like a plastic, and you got like a turtle tummy that was attached to the shell, and that was kind of it. And like a mask, but I was like, no, I needed to be a Ninja Turtle, so I had to get like the plastic, like the leather, not leather, like the rubber mask.
Yeah.
So I got that rubber mask in conjunction with that, and of course, Ninja Turtles have to have 3 fingers. And they don't make Ninja Turtle, so I had to like do this with my hands, and then I tape my hands so they'd be Ninja Turtle hands. I'm sure that in my head it worked out, but I'm just thankful there's no photos.
Was this Halloween mask how I remember all Halloween masks to be? Sweaty, unbreathable, and usually get to punch the nose holes in so you could kind of breathe? It was
a heavy duty rubber. It had a baked in expression of teeth. Maybe there was a slit in the middle, like the most minuscule one. And I don't even remember. I think there must have been holes, like just little dots underneath the fake eyes. I'm sure there was no nose, holes.
I did so many rubber masks. I think that's the bulk of my Halloween, was all different flavors of rubber masks. Because I always wanted something horrifying. I always wanted to go for the scary Halloween. I was Scream guy one year when Scream was quite popular.
Nice. I remember when that costume started to come out, and then Scream came out. And I'm like, that's just the off the rack scary ghost mask. Which, as it turns out, was actually like meta. Like that was what they wanted to do. They were like, no, it's the off the rack thing. It's not our off the rack. But that's cool. Yeah, I remember seeing them. One of my favorite memories. Growing up, my mom was friends with an owner of a costume shop.
Nice.
So I had exclusive access through ludicrous price gouging, but still access to like a myriad of different costume options. And I remember being captivated by these like scary, horrifying rubber masks, but them always being not even like close to in the price range. I remember like I think I remember the number being like $65 or something like that, which of course to an 8-year-old is like, nope, never gonna happen. But yeah, I remember seeing them being like, those are great looking and they're scary. There's just random assortment of horrifying faces, like wolves with these like not even teeth, like tendons that became teeth, like shooting out the face. And you're like, what rhyme or reason does this follow? None whatsoever. It's just supposed to capture horror. Or that full body latex or plastic rubber mask that starts here, goes to your knees, and it's like just a giant, horrible gape mouth. You remember those?
Love it.
I gotta assume those are still around, but I haven't seen one of those in action since probably E.T. I remember in E.T., the extraterrestrial, there's like a trick-or-treat scene, and you see all the costumes that were very popular in the 80s, including a Yoda costume.
Yeah. What was your modus operandi for trick-or-treat bag? Did you go with the traditional orange pumpkin? Did you go with the grocery bag? Or did you do what I do and you got the pillowcase?
Pillowcase, because I wanted to have the maximum amount of space for Halloween. It started out as a Halloween sack, a cloth sack that my parents got for me. It was like probably about this big. It was cloth. It had a pull string, and it depicted a scene. I think it was of a spooky tree and a spooky cat and maybe a spooky ghost. It may have glowed in the dark at one point, but I doubt it. But it was very much and I think it may have said trick or treat on it. But it was very like, this is the bag you break out for Halloween. I remember I don't know where we kept it, but I remember it always resurfaced every Halloween. And then at some point or other, the drawstring broke. So you couldn't seal it anymore, which is kind of like part of the appeal. And ultimately, then I had the bright idea. I remember seeing other kids with the pillowcase, and I'm like, I'm going with the pillowcase.
I got the idea from Simpsons.
Oh, nice.
Fit in there, you damn pillowcase. And I'm like, that's a great idea, Simpsons. I will do that next year.
Yeah, I think I remember having my rinky-dink bag and then being with other kids who had the pillowcase and being like, oh, I am shortchanging myself. Then, of course, there was the plight of picking the right pillowcase. Like,
Yeah.
you don't want to have it be, because for no reason my mom made my bedroom nautical themed. I am by no means a boatsman or a seafaring kid, but like it was like nautical flag wallpaper and nautical themed pillowcases and sheets, along with like a fisherman's net with like starfish and shells and sand crabs and whatnot. I'm like, never did it occur to me, like, hey, stop that. Like, I don't care about fish.
Aquaman's bedroom. You grew up in Aquaman's
Yeah,
bedroom.
it was Arthur Curry's bedroom. But for a land-lubbing noob like myself, bizarre choice. And never did I think like, hey, Mom, I don't give a crap about fish or the sea. Could you, like, maybe theme it to be superheroes or something? Bizarre.
Same with my mother, only her thing was floral patterns. Everything was floral patterns in our house growing up.
Every mom gets some theme stuck in their craw. I remember a buddy of mine, my old college roommate's mom, was very into roosters. Roosters everywhere. Thankfully, anything that has a rooster printed on it is, like, pretty much in the same wheelhouse. So, like, if you're getting rooster-themed stuff for your kitchen, for your living room, for your bathroom, it's all going to look the same. It's not going to be as incohesive as you can imagine.
It's true.
Divid22, Sal, why did you not go as Robert Downey Jr. going as Stark? Well, by the time that Robert Downey Jr. was Tony Stark, I had long since stopped trick-or-treating and kind of abandoned Halloween costuming as well. So it just didn't happen for me. Now I'd be fat Robert Downey Jr. and it would be like annoying to have to like deal with that criticism every time. Like, hey, look, it's chubby Iron Man. Hey, wow, like, did you get out of a joke book or something? Like, good call. So that's why I never went with that. Also, I didn't want to do his weird facial hair.
It is a whole thing.
Will I am Golden. In high school, I made a cheap question costume with a leather hoodie, a durang with a question mark on it, and a Yankee cap. That's cool. Man, I wish I had thought to like go with the more grounded superheroes. I would have been able to pull off a lot more costumes back then.
I was one year, and God, this is so, I can't believe I'm actually going to tell this story. So one year at my Catholic high school, which I went to in the country, in like friggin' Bible Belt, Canada, they had a thing where it's like, oh, you don't have to wear the uniform, because obviously going to a Catholic school, I had to wear a uniform.
Naturally.
For Halloween, you don't have to wear a uniform if you wear a costume. And I came as the Punisher, and I did the whole thing with the big boots, skull shirt, trench coat that I had, and bandoliers and everything. And looking back at that now in our current climate, everything about that was wrong. Why did I do that?
Yeah, I don't, like, you can't get away with the Punisher today in a school. You also can't be Neo in a school. You can't, you probably can't be, you can't be in the Matrix anymore.
Anything with a trench coat and bullets. No.
Yeah, I will say in high school, which was like, there were a lot of like bad things going on in the news that wouldn't have helped us out. I remember my buddy was Neo, and he just looked like a school shooter.
He was not the one.
No. But he also didn't get kicked out. We got kicked out, not kicked out, but they made us. I like trench coats. I think they're cool. I like dusters. I can't pull them off now, and I couldn't pull them off then, but I thought I could, and I liked them a lot, so I wanted to. And trench coats were also surprisingly inexpensive. And if you went to thrift stores, you could also get like different really cool ones. Like I remember getting a short one called a great coat that was really very lightweight, and you slid your hands into the pockets, and if you open it up, like your pockets can stick right out. It was very much a Boondock Saints kind of coat, but
definitely something someone's great uncle Jack died in.
Totally. Great coat. But I got that, and I'm like, this is awesome. It was very lightweight. It could move around. I could wear it pretty much up until the spring. And a bunch of us had gotten into London fogs. And I remember one day, the school principal called all of us into the office and said, you can't wear those anymore. Trench coats are banned. And,
they're out.
Yeah, and one of our parents said, like, so you're enforcing a dress code? And they were like, oh, we rescind the ban. Don't sue us. And so that was
We're
fun.
afraid of trench coats, but we're more afraid of litigation.
This is very true. Heartless Fang. Sometimes I'd use the old jack-o'-lantern bucket from McDonald's Happy Meals in the 90s to store candy. Great vessel, too small. Thinking too small, man. You got to go big. I loved the look of those 90s Halloween McDonald's buckets.
And the toys you got with the back in the Happy Meals back in those days. The little nuggets that you could dress up in costumes.
Oh, totally. Comic Goblin, good evening, fellas. As a kid, my mom, traditional Hispanic, was incredibly cheap when it came to Halloween, and I'd be dressed as a ninja 5 years in a row. I got less candy every year. Still a funny time. Me and my mom laugh about. Dude, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Like, if you can pull off the ninja costume, the ninja is the cheapest costume you could possibly. Do you have black clothing? Put it on. Do you have like a sheer scarf? I know you do, Mom. Wrap it around his face.
The only thing that's cheaper is the white sheet ghost.
Yes, but it gets a little dicey the further down the Bible Belt you get.
That too.
So yeah, I remember, and I will say this: I was actually now thinking back, as a kid, I was very comic book oriented. I was the Penguin from Batman Returns for Halloween one year.
That's a good one.
Bizarre choice. I just like the idea. I like the idea of assembling it. Like I got like this weird like cummerbund costume thing. I got a coat that I normally had, a top hat, a prosthetic nose, the monocle. Like I taped my fingers again to be like the Penguin. Just very like I owned it. My sister was Catwoman, which was cute. And what was the other thing? Oh, and I was Dick Tracy one year.
Oh, now there's a deep cut for one.
Yeah. And you know what? Like, I think my parents were really into it because it was very brightly colored. So they were like, hey, we can see him from across the area.
The car won't hit him.
Yeah. Chase Eichler bought a movie-accurate homecoming costume, so I'll be Spider-Man at parties for the rest of my life to pay it off. Damn. Best purchase ever, though. Well, I thought you were going to say, I bought a movie-accurate superhero costume in 1998, which means it was not in any way movie-accurate, and it made me look like a complete clown. But no, you're talking about buying, like, one of those, like, Etsy costumes, which I know that I have a friend of mine who's actually thinking about doing that and just doing it all, and just doing that for the rest of his life.
He can show up to events.
Exactly. So I don't blame you.
Take pictures.
Yeah, I think that's cool. Listen, as I've been assembling a costume that I've been working on for the last 3 years, I always swore to myself, if I could ever actually pull off being like a live, real life Ghostbuster, I would do that forever, because I don't really want to be anything else, and it's hard to really pull it off, especially the older and the heavier I get. Like, you know, what are you gonna do? There's not a lot of room. I remember one year I was Jesse Custer, couldn't pull it off.
I always wanted to be Bullock one year again, but I couldn't find the right shade of trench coat, and I couldn't wear a fedora without looking like a doofus, and also I'm not drunk enough and surly enough.
Yeah, what you need to do is you need the 5 o'clock shadow, ditch the goatee, and then you got to get like the full Bullock outfit. You need like a loose, wrinkled, terrible dress shirt, a loose, ill-fitting tie, a big old trench coat, like work pants. You got to own it. Cover it in
the
dirt.
Shade of mustard that he had in the animated series, that one.
Exactly. I think you could totally pull off Bullock, especially the older you get, the more Bullocky you can be.
The more Bullock I become, the more mileage I get on you. Man, I've seen some things you never believe.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. But I've been working on my Ghostbusters costume forever, and we're getting closer. Thanks to Spirit Halloween, a better available, cheaper Ghost Trap became available. So I'm like, okay, got that. I got my boots. I got my belt gizmo that I ordered from Etsy. It's all coming together. Dyeing the suit, making the patches, and getting the. I made like that weird hose that they have attached to their leg for no reason. Of course, my proton pack, like, it's coming together. It's really a work in progress, a constant work in progress.
Better every year.
So, as a kid, when you went trick-or-treating, did you go with when, if ever, did you transition from, my parents are taking me, to, I want to go with friends, to, why are we trick-or-treating, I'm trying to get laid here?
It was around high school. That was the big change. Being like, I think I can do this on my own, and I'm meeting people to go do this sort of thing. Although, here's the thing, because I lived in the friggin' sticks, so there was, like, no one around. I had to commute to the subdivision, like, over if I wanted to actually get to houses. I lived in a place for years. No one ever came to our house because we were in the middle of frickin' nowhere.
Same
we
here.
always set up candy, always set up a pumpkin, never got nobody.
Yeah. we live in the sticks as well, and my parents have been in the same house for 30 years or whatever, but it's nobody ever goes. The street had like some kids on it when I was growing up. It has a couple of kids on it now, but like we'll talk about Halloween in like now in a minute, because like Halloween now is like a just a pale shadow of what it once was.
That was. I think we can all agree that last Halloween of what that felt like, where it's like, this is the end.
Yes. Oh, big time. By the way, Heartless Fang, last one from me. One of the best parts of Halloween as a kid was haggling with the siblings for uncommon candy after going through it all. Yeah, we didn't talk yet about that. Like, just getting candy, and the hopes and dreams and what houses you knew.
Yep.
Had what?
Had the good stuff.
Yep.
That's the dentist house. Stay away from there. He gives toothpaste.
I always avoided the dentist house when it came to that. It's funny. My mom drove us to different suburban communities, and then she would be like, "Okay, go up and down the block," and then we would hit my sister and I, or just me, would hit those houses. And I would always insist on going a little further up the road. There was my fourth grade English teacher's son worked for Marvel Comics, which I never leveraged or did anything about and never really processed was a big, cool deal. But every year for Halloween, she gave away comic books.
So smart. They really should do that more.
Actually, Diamond Distribution has like Halloween. Every year they do a Halloween thing, and you can get like Halloween giveaways at your local comic book store, which we did one year, and then Diamond just stopped calling us, and I'm like,
oh,
we probably did the biggest video for you, but whatever, Diamond, you do what you do. But yeah, it was really cool to get like, that was how I got my X-Men and my Sabretooth books, was through her, and I was like, this is cool. So as opposed to like most candy, which I was like, this is great, and I like candy, and I liked whittling it down over a year, basically. The really cool thing was like getting free comics, getting real comics, not just like giveaways like they do now, but actual comics.
What's some of the weirdest shit you ever got? One lady one year worked for a makeup company, and she handed out gift cards, but mixed in with the candy in hopes we wouldn't notice. And I'm like, lady, I noticed.
That sucks.
Apple people, where it's like, look, I know what you're trying to do, but come on, apples, come on.
We've never done apples. I remember as a kid, they always warned you about like razor blades in apples. And so I think because it was so prevalent when I was a kid, that urban legend that no one gave out apples.
Yep.
So I never got apples, but I'm trying to think back. Raisins.
See, I kind of liked raisins. I'm like, I can buy my own raisins.
We have raisins. I don't need your raisins, which I know you bought for yourself.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah, my one of my neighbors had they made a goodie bag every year because it was on our street, and our street got like 3 kids. They had a little like box filled with individually wrapped Halloween goodie bags that were in like a translucent Halloween themed bag about like yay big, and it had like a lollipop, a piece of gum, like some change, and depending on how old you got, like the more change or the better denomination of change there was inside, and that was really cool but very odd. It was like it was a cute little like care package that this elderly couple used to make for us.
Oh, that's nice.
That's always a fun memory. That was also the only time we would go into their I would walk by their house. They had horses, and I would feed the horses on my way from school to home, and we never actually got the chance to go into their house. And Halloween was was the month when we would go and visit them. And in their house, it was always like a lodge, and it smelled like what I now know to be pipes, and pipe tobacco, and it had like severed heads that the husband had scored from hunting, but they were never it wasn't like a deer. It was like a warthog. And like another weird mythical creature.
Crazy game animals. How do you feel about people who gave out cans of drink? I know on the street I went to, I think a guy worked for Canada Dry because every year he handed out ginger ale, which I was fine with because usually after trick-or-treating, hey, need a little pick-me-up.
That's fair. I don't know if I liked it. I think that I think Halloween should be simply for solids. Preferably also things that can't break. You're throwing it from the person into a sack filled with the same stuff. it needs to be compact. You know, like
True.
the easiest one, of course, and for me the worst, not the worst, but like cheapest Tootsie Roll Pop. There are Tootsie Rolls.
Yeah.
You can get 19 of them, chuck them in there. They'll be there till doomsday. You're fine.
True.
Yeah, no, it's like don't go with like the hollow candy. Don't go with like cans or juice boxes. Too many opportunities for them to rupture and destroy your entire score.
They do. I will tell you, the worst piece of candy I hated, I don't know if they're prevalent anymore or if they thankfully maybe phased these out because they were disgusting. They looked like caramel. They were in orange wax paper, and they always tasted goddamn terrible. They usually had like skulls and stuff on them. Was this a Canadian thing, or did you see these?
It sounds like a Canadian thing. I like the idea of candy having like a poison warning on them.
Yeah, like that basically tells you, like, hey, don't eat these. They taste like ass. They were always the worst. And I'm like, ooh, colorful packaging. And every year I tried one, and every year I was disappointed.
Yeah, for me, it's candy corn. I think candy corn is horrible and vile. I don't like it. And every year I get some, or not anymore, but like every year I get some and go, damn it, I don't like this. But no, we did not have like individually wrapped orange candy.
Caramels. I don't even know if they had a name. I only saw them at Halloween, and I never saw anyone buy
That's interesting.
any.
Circus peanuts were kind of a thing that was like, what are you doing? But
They're
yeah,
a very controversial candy choice there. What was your primo candy? What was the one you were after? Like, I hope I get lots of blank.
Three Musketeers were the begin. Like was one where I remember distinctly going like, I can't believe we got more Three Musketeers. I liked those a lot. Full size bars.
Oh yeah, that's the hat trick when you can get one of them.
Yes, the full sized candy bars were the way to go. We are that house now, by the way, like where we only do full size candy bars. Malik, somebody suggested Sugar Daddies. Maybe that's what it was. Sugar Daddies are horrible. I don't know if that's what Joel's talking about, though.
This damn Sugar Daddy stuck to my
back. Yeah, no, it's... yeah, Three Musketeers were my go-to. Were my, like, holy crap. No, Reese's Peanut Butter Cups are the...
Yeah, I've always been a peanut butter guy in general. And all the different types of Reese's. Like, sometimes you get the cup, sometimes you get the pieces.
Yeah, for me, it's funny. I don't really care for Reese's Pieces. I like them more now than ever before. But Reese's Peanut Butter Cups in the 2-pack in the orange are the tops.
It already looks Halloween-ish because it's orange.
I know. I do like, but I prefer the others. The individually wrapped, like thick Reese's Peanut Butter Cup guys, the doodads we have, which actually we have a few of. They're the dark chocolate kind, which means they're superior. But you can't go wrong with a Reese's Peanut Butter Cup 2-pack, especially if it was the full size. Like, holy shit.
I had a white chocolate Reese's not too long ago, and I was quite disappointed because the white chocolate does not cut through the thickness of the peanut butter as it should. It's like, man, this looks great on the picture, but does not work together when you try it.
Let me drop some science about Reese's Peanut Butter Cups, ladies and gentlemen.
Please
White
do.
chocolate, you put it right in the garbage because that's where it belongs. Dark chocolate Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. If we're talking about the actual like 2-pack real bar, they're good. I'm not denying it. But dark chocolate, of course, doesn't have the looseness that you require for a for a chocolate coating. So as a result, when you bite into a Reese's Peanut Butter Cup that's dark chocolate, it's going to break apart. You're going to get pieces everywhere. And that's not good eats. So what you really got to do, you get your classic milk chocolate Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. You throw that shit into the refrigerator. Not the freezer. You don't want to have frozen peanut butter. But the refrigerator. You give it a good 4 hours, 4 to 6 hours, you're golden. That's when you have, it's not ice cold, it's just nice and cold Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. That's the superior way to eat a Reese's Peanut Butter Cup.
Science you're kicking right there. I appreciate that. You know what I liked? I think it was only for a limited time only. I don't know if they exist anymore. Peanut Butter Twix.
Peanut Butter Twix. I remember them, and they were good. Yeah. No, they were good. I'll give it to you.
They changed the vanilla wafer for a chocolate wafer, and they changed the caramel for some peanut butter. Again, I think it was only for a limited time only, but damn, Twix, if you're listening to this show, and I think we know that you're listening to this show, bring back peanut butter Twix in time for Halloween.
Please. Yeah, no, that'd be great. I loved Twix. Of course, you get 2 for the price of 1. Who can argue with that? Twix are also delicious. Really quick, I just want to jump into the super chat. Joshua Wright, keeping us on task. My friends and I all went as characters from The Matrix in 2000. We thought legit, stylized leather and vinyl would make it clear, but got sent home from school because we were nerds and people freaked. We should do an episode. We can't do an episode. We'll never do an episode, but like I could do a whole episode or a whole conversation about how like Columbine almost ruined my high school career because we were nerds and unpopular. And suddenly, like, popular kids were like, oh, we should fear them. And it's like, that's not the lesson here, but thanks for fearing me.
That happens in every generation. You know what that sounds like? That sounds like something for the Patreon show is what that sounds like.
Yes, I agree. Keith One Shot, I dressed as female heroes, Black Canary, and Supergirl. Awesome. Nice. I hope they were at least comic accurate. You could at least sell the costume. My sister was Supergirl one year. It was blue feety pajamas, and I made her the S-crest.
Ah, cool.
Will I Am Golden. Next door neighbor gave caramel apples, or caramel apples. I remember a neighbor who gave away caramel apples.
You're trying, at least.
I'm not a fan. I don't like them as it is, so. As a Halloween treat, they usually just went into the bushes.
I used to love them, but now my teeth are all messed up and jacked up because I'm older and I can't eat them.
That's fair. And Accidental Madness, here, have a toothbrush. You take the toothbrush. I don't need one. I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, okay. But we were talking about Halloween. So you transition from, at least in my case, my parents, first my dad never went. He was like, no. But my mom would transition from, like, driving us to blocks to, I think around 8th grade, I noticed that all the kids were hanging out and doing their own trick-or-treating, which translated into Mischief Night.
Of course.
And I really want to be a part of that. It really spoke to my destructive, anarchistic nature. I definitely went out with kids. I did not actually participate in the destruction, but I was culpable in terms of being a witness. But I remember being like really entertained by like these kids like taking eggs and throwing them at houses and toilet papering places. I remember getting stopped by the cops with them, and they all jumped in the bushes because clearly this was not their first rodeo. But it was mine. And so it's just me on the side of the road with no houses anywhere nearby and the cops. And I'm like 11, 12, I guess 12. And they're like, what are you doing out here, son? And I'm like, oh, I'm trick-or-treating. And they're like, where's your costume? I'm like, it's in the bag. And they're like, why isn't it on your body? And I'm like, because I don't want to ruin it as I walk from house to house. He's like, okay, bye. And I'm like, yay.
My situation was similar. It was actually, I think now that I think of it now, my dad took me every year because my mom worked nights at the hospital because she was a nurse and everything. So that was always his job to take me trick-or-treating. And the little badass troublemaker in my hometown was a kid by the name of Richard Fortin. French Canadian. I'm pretty sure he's in jail right now, so I have no problem saying his name. Mm-hmm. He's either in jail or he's one of those kids who went out to Calgary to try and make easy money working at the oil sands. But yeah, he was literally Bart Simpson. He had the little bastard, kit of everything. I got you eggs, got paintballs. We're gonna whip those at cars. Ooh, we're gonna put potatoes in tailpipes and everything. Salt and gas cans. Like this kid. You could tell he waited all year for it. And one year he's like, hey, Joel, you want to hang out as we're going to do this? And I'm like, well, I guess I'll walk around with you for a minute there. And then slowly just like, yeah, I'll catch up in a minute.
Yeah, no, that's too destructive. Eggs on the door, toilet paper. You know what's funny? Like I would hate it. I would be so livid. But there's something that gives my heart a little joy when on November 1st I'm driving around town and the whole neighborhood is just covered in toilet paper.
Beautiful moment.
Something
it's
really
Americana.
Delightful about it. I don't know why, but I love it. I like when the people leave it there for a little while, where they're like, "No, let's look upon the carnage that was wrought while I was out getting hammered." Like, I love it. I don't know why. It particularly was great when it would be the school that got toilet paper.
Oh, I never TP'd the school. That would have been a fun one. Actually, fun too. I remember too about Richard Fort. I'm like, where were his parents in that? Oh yeah, his parents were friggin' going to jail and causing their own shit at that time too. My dad worked as a bouncer for a little bit, and his mom, Richard Fortin's mom, bartended too, and she was always getting thrown out and shit as well.
Damn, you knew true delinquents, man.
Yeah, that kid was a shit. Hey, let me Facebook and find out where's this kid at this day.
Yeah. Daniel Prato, I did Ms. Marvel with pants one year, t-shirt and scarf. Nice. That's awesome. So yeah, like, I remember freshman year. It was after the whole, like, okay, I'm not egging out. Okay, I don't have the stomach for attacking houses. I'm not going to do that. Freshman year, I was in a weird social group transitional period. My close friends were too popular to hang out with me, so they were with other more popular groups that didn't invite me out. And I had not yet grown the courage to ask people who would eventually become my friends to do stuff. And so there was this weird, like, nebulous period where I'm with a couple of, like, really unpopular people who invited me out. And I'm like, whoa, they invited me out. And they were like, let's go trick-or-treating. And I'm like, I'm 14.
I'm a little too old.
A little too old to be trick-or-treating. So one of them dressed up as the rise and fall of the Roman Empire. So he dressed like Caesar, but he wore fall Michael's leaves. And he was very proud to point that out all day in school. I'm the rise and fall of the Roman Empire.
It just tells you everything you need to know about that kid.
God damn it. And another girl who was the only delinquent that I hung out with in high school's would-be girlfriend one day. She wore nothing. Like, she wore clothing, obviously, but she didn't wear a costume. Maybe she did. I think she was a cat or something. And I wore a hoodie and jeans. And it was apparent within the first house we hit how this sucked. Like, this sucks. And we're walking around the town that belonged to my high school, and it was all very interconnected, very, like, Teen Wolf town kind of thing. And so we're walking around, and I am done. First house, I'm like, this sucks. I didn't even bring a bag. So I got my hands in my pockets, got my hoodie up over my head. We're just walking.
I'm a drifter.
And I'm about 3 people behind them. And this red Corvette comes screaming out of the darkness. Top down. Screeches to a halt. Everyone in the car, of which there are 6 or 7 people, jump out with eggs and then pummel my entire party with eggs.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
But my costume must have been so convincing that they didn't even see me. I was like Arnold in The Predator. Maybe they thought I was like sneaking up behind them and gonna rob them or something, and they like leave me alone. They just pummeled them with eggs. And I just stood there, and then they screeched away, and they just stood there like, this is what happens to us every year. Which really broke my heart.
Yeah, it's breaking my heart now just hearing about it all these years later.
So we just slowly walked back. We trudged back to their house, like one of their houses, where they had to take off their costumes in shame. And then, like, take showers. And I'm like, I was invited out by some people I didn't really know. So I'm thinking, like, hey, maybe we'll get some candy. Maybe I might get laid. Like, who knows? You know, it's Halloween. Anything can happen. Spoilers, that never happened. But, like, you know, I'm thinking, like, oh, cool things are going to happen. So I'm like, Mom, Dad, don't wait up. So, like, it's 6:30. And the night is not even begun, and the night's over. And I'm trapped at their house, and they're just, like, sadly, and they're like, okay, let's play palindromes. Like, let's play word games. And I'm like, I gotta go home. And I walked from their house to my actual friend's house, who was home. And I'm like, hey, Keenan, can you let me in? And he's like, hey, what are you doing here? And I'm like, he's like, were you gonna do anything this week or tonight? And I'm like, not really. He's like, yeah, me either. And so we hung out and watched Treehouse of Horror.
There you go.
And that was great. But yeah, it was that was the period where I'm like, I think Halloween's over. Then I made friends, and Halloween was not over. Then I started going to, like, Halloween parties. Where
They're
I
always
like,
great.
One year, I was Mr. Pink. Black suit, black thin tie, shades. I looked dope.
Or a Blues Brother, depending on who caught you.
Or a Blues Brother, depending on if I had a hat or not. But yeah, Mr. Pink. I was Silent Bob. My buddy had long blonde hair, so he was Jay. We did a pairing of costumes. By the way, hilarious situation about that. We weren't trendy dressers back then, but our mutual friend was, and he had an assortment of Jinkos. Jinkos are jeans that are impossible to wear. They are as wide in the leg as I am in my torso, and for each leg, and they had a big, stupid, obnoxious J on the butt.
They're also kind of coming back, I think.
Oh no. Well, anyway, we borrowed one of his Jinkos for Keenan to wear as Jay, because we were like, Jay, because we don't really have like a template for what Jay wears. Jay's just young and dresses like people. So, we put Jinkos on him, and so I remember us gleefully running to the car to get something, and Keenan's never worn Jinkos a day in his life, and he's running. Because, of course, the best part about Halloween, if you're in high school, wearing your Halloween costume to school. But anyway, we're running from the school to the parking lot, and he gets like 3 steps, and the left Jinko leg like wraps around the right leg. Like it was like his Jinkos came to life and tried to stop him, and just wrapped around his leg. He was like a mummy, and just wham, just hit the pavement. And he put his hand out. He really cut up his hand, and I'm like, dude, you okay? He's like, I'm totally fine. We were like so focused on having fun that he was like, I'm fine. He's like bleeding out of the hand. I'm like, we need to address this. I am with you. I'm happy to ignore your injury to have fun, but we do need to cover this because like there will be chicks there.
Girls might be watching.
Yeah, good old there might be chicks. By the way, I'm using the term chicks as a like stupid 14-year-old high school kid who doesn't know any better and has no idea how to talk to women.
Yes, with no perspective. I remember my first Halloween party costume when I really tried to put some work into it. I'm like, oh, vampires are really in this year. I'm going to go full Lestat on it too. I'm going to get the waistcoat and I'm going to like spray dye my hair and everything.
Oh no.
And get like the fake piercings and everything. I was super uncomfortable all night, but my goth buddy let me borrow some of his makeup and there are pictures of that somewhere.
Nice. I would love to see that. That was the year also that Ben went as a clown, like a goth clown.
Oh.
Full white paint, like a mime. He looked like a mime with riser boots. Those like the kind of boots that someone in a Cenobite movie would wear.
That come up to like your knee and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and they have like this much like height on them. There's one picture I have of it. He was in the marching band. He's wearing a big drum. But bizarre. Anyway, jumping into the super chat, NB Gleason, hey Sal and Joel, your best podcast round. Thank you very much, sir. Are you guys going to do Boku no Hero Academia or Transformers All Hail Megatron or Transformers G.I. Joe First Strike? No. Can't. No, we're not going to do them. Probably. I don't really read a lot of Transformers. The most Transformers you'll see is our New Avengers Transformers crossover. We might do a video one day about the canceled DC Transformers crossover, but like, as you can see from the video stats, Transformers don't really perform on ComicPOP, so it's not really going to work out for us.
There's a big Transformers convention here in Toronto in a couple months. I was looking at local cons. Apparently, Toronto has its own Transformers con.
You should go, just for fun.
Yeah, just to try it out.
Yeah,
I should go to Power Morphicon one year in California. Apparently, we know a lot of people who go there every year anyway.
I'm not surprised. But yeah, you should definitely do that. Are you kidding me? Like, every local con I have, I try to go to, especially the ones that are in my area. I just reach out to them. I'm press. I can do this, that, and the other thing. Here's your free pass. I go. Because, like, why not? November, or like mid-November, ToyCon comes back. I am so on board. Anyway, Cam saying, I grew up around the same time as the Raimi films, so for like 5 years straight, I had my parents buy me the same damn Spider-Man costume over and over again.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, I don't blame you, man. I remember I was Spider-Man one year for Halloween, and I had a pretty dope Spider-Man costume. Full leotard. It was made of like cotton, but like had the boots, had a great mask, but it had those holes, and that killed me. So I'm like, why? There's no way. Like, it needs to have, like, there needs to be some way to get the Spider-Man mask to work without these stupid holes.
Yeah.
Eventually they would, but it would be for cosplayers, and it's like magnets and stuff, and that's really cool. Yeah.
How do they work? I don't know.
Magnets? There's no way. But I will say I can't pull it off now anyway. Comic Goblin, when I joined the Navy, I was expecting crazy command Halloween parties since most bases do big Christmas parties. But then I realized that all the revealing costumes and alcoholic is a bad idea. Yeah, probably. Yeah, you'll get in trouble. In high school, that's like a plan. When you're like a career Navy person, that's like a court-martial. Like, be careful. But yeah, man.
Used against me later.
Yeah. Halloween went from that to, I remember like In college, there was I did a wicked great Indiana Jones costume.
Eat.
I was Brody from Mallrats in college. I was Bartleby from Dogma,
Oh, wow, nice.
which I got some angel wings. I had this cool like Roman chest plate. The rest of it's just like black jeans, pair of boots, and a red sweatshirt. It was very easy to pull off. I was very proud of it. I went to a very lame party that no one got or appreciated. It was very
that's the
sad.
worst.
But I have one picture of it, so that worked out. Yeah, and the Indiana Jones one I pulled off pretty great. But again, in college, I threw the parties because we had like a theme house,
Yeah.
and they were lame. There's no denying it. They were not fun. They were not cool. I did not make it work out. Although my proudest moment was I had a buddy in college, an acquaintance more or less, and his friend was going to Super Mario.
Cool.
He grew the mustache, he had the whole thing, and my buddy was heavy set, and he's like, I want to do it, but I don't have time to put together a really good costume. I was invited to be part of this. We wanted to do like a dual costume thing, but I don't want to be Fat Luigi, and I can't be Bowser because there's no time. And I was like, you should be a Babam.
Ooh.
Immediately I came to Babam, and he did, and he got like a black like winter cap, got some great like white rope, got like a thing that made it look like it was on fire, and it looked like a great like wick. He put 2 dots on a big black sweatshirt, and he pulled it off. I've never seen a better Babam in my life. I'm like, oh yes, nicely done. And he's like, and then of course for years people were like, you're Babam shaped, and I'm like, that's not the takeaway I wanted to go with it. You know, you're the one who said like that you were heavy. Oh well.
I'm definitely catching that bug too as I get older too, where it used to be about like going to parties and it used to be about like dressing up for stuff like that. Now I just want to decorate my place for people to see, but then I also live in a condo with mostly all old people, so I get really into decorating my door.
Yeah, that's really, if you live in a complex, you have to decorate the door, which is harder to pull off. We do have a house, so I like, and I try to make it kind of like home, like Better Homes meets Halloween. Like, I have a neighbor who has a really gauche front yard.
Oh yeah,
everything about it is horrible. Their house is falling apart. It's a nightmare. But so I'm like, let me try to class up the joint a little bit. So we got like special signs, say like trick or treat or like boo, and like I get like corn stalks from the local farm and put those up and everything. Like, trying to make it look kind of nice as opposed to like blah. Like, I want to show I'm enjoying the harvest season, and also, if you are a kid, we will have candy here. Like, please come, because for a bunch of years, nobody came.
That's really disappointing. Just sitting there eating the candy myself.
Yeah, especially because we're the full-size candy bar house, so it's like
yeah.
I have a box of candy, because Costco will sell you the big boxes of candy. So it's like,
they will.
I'm not gonna. So I would just give them away or put them in the refrigerator at the office. Like, what am I gonna do with this huge box of random candy? The other thing was, how do you portion out those candy? Like, if you're a house that normally doesn't get any visitors, and then one year a bunch of kids came up, and I'm like, do I give all of them all the candy, or do I give them some of the candy in the hopes that there might be more kids later?
True.
Now I'm finding out Halloween is basically dead, and that for the last 3 years, the trick-or-treaters come out around 2:00 in the afternoon.
Really? See, I always had to be going out at 6, and that was always a big fight with my dad. It's like, oh, I want to go to. It's like, no, I got to go to at least 6 when the sun's going down.
Yeah, got to go down when the sun's going down. For me, like, it's when school ends, the kids go out immediately. The ones who are going out. The rest of them go probably to the school where they have trunk or treat, where all the parents drive their cars into the parking lot and then open their trunks, and then the kids wear their costumes. They do their silly parade, and then like they go to each other's cars and get the candy they need, because, like, you know, candy's bad for kids anyway, and you really shouldn't be doing that regardless. Like, it's just really sucky. And so we don't get trick-or-treaters. The kids aren't getting a chance to go out. They have no experience doing any of this. They don't get to walk around. Remember, like, actually, not last year, maybe the year before. It might have been last year, I don't remember. It was the year David S. Pumpkins came out, so I guess it was 2 years ago. We went trick-or-treating. I was like, there's no one out. we're going trick-or-treating.
might
So
as well.
Ben, Tiffany, Ethan, myself, Danielle, we put on costumes. We went door to door around like 7 or 8 o'clock at night. There were no kids. There were no trick-or-treaters. We went to 3 different neighborhoods. Nobody. And we're like, trick-or-treat. And each person who opened the door was like, what? And we're like, no one's here. And they're like, well, I don't want this candy. Here you go. Like, it was very like, I mean, you make a good point that kids wouldn't make, which arguably is kind of weird that you're adults going to get candy, but like, at the same time, you're also doing me a favor. Here you go.
No, you became Hank Hill from that Halloween episode of King of the Hill,
Oh,
where
I
it's like,
didn't
no,
know
we
that.
will take back Halloween. We will go through the streets. And that was back in the early 90s they did this episode talking
Wow.
about that Halloween is dying.
Yeah, well, I think it's officially in the coffin. By the way,
Sad.
Joshua Wright, I've done martial arts my whole life, so I did Iron Fist one year at my dojo Halloween party,
Nice.
complete with big dragon chest, and nobody got it. That sucks.
You would
should
figure if
yeah.
anyone would know.
You should bust that out at a Comic-Con. Like, keep that costume, do it again at a show. The Razor Vids. Joel, what's your favorite Zevia soda? Mine's cola.
Cola's nice. I got a lot of the orange going on right now. It's again, I'm sick, so I need the vitamin C, and it's orange flavor.
That is not how you get your vitamin C. Take a supplement or something.
I know, I'm joking.
But yeah, that sucks. I'm sorry, man. But yes, there's your soda. Yeah, man. But we did go out, and it was pretty fun. I don't think we could get away with it again. Well, I didn't push it. Also, like, I don't really know anybody who does Halloween parties. Also, like, the older you get, the like harder it is to go to Halloween parties. Because like the point of a Halloween party is like, if you want to celebrate Halloween, you go trick or treating. If you're too old for trick or treating, you go to a Halloween party.
Yeah.
But if you're not looking to like, but the point of the Halloween party is to like meet people, like, you know, get wasted or whatever for most people, which is not my plan. So,
Same.
you know, my ideal Halloween party is like the one you see in Hollywood, where it's like a huge house with hundreds of people, and they're all wearing varying degrees of intricate costumes. Never.
Like some crazy rich guy put together. Apparently in Texas, one of the guys who work for one of the big game studios has an insane one every year with like bookshelves that move around and actual fire and everything.
See, that's the thing. What you want, what we're looking for isn't a Halloween party. We're looking for a masquerade ball.
Yeah.
Or like a resurgence of the Halloween dance. That's why there's an arcade in my area that is doing a costume party or whatever. And I'm like, I am going. First of all, video game. Second of all, I got a dope costume. I look like a Ghostbuster. And third, it's an arcade, so I'll be themed because I'm from the 80s. Her. You know, so like that'll be the idea. But like that's what I'm looking for. Like I want to go to like Yestercades and have them go like, it's an 80s tacular party running a bunch of like Marty McFlys and Beetlejuices and stuff. Like that would be cool. Plus, there's the added bonus of video games being readily available. That's
Always
what I'm looking
nice.
for now. I think it's hard. It's hard to make Halloween work as you get older. So what we're basically saying, the takeaway for it is, if you are under 20, trick or treat, go out, hit up parties, be safe, but more importantly, like have fun. Like, do everything you can. Squeeze every ounce of pumpkin juice out of Halloween because it just
Ain't always going to be there.
the pumpkin gets smaller and smaller.
It's not like Christmas where every year you get a gift even where the magic is gone. The magic is gone so much faster from Halloween.
Yes. With Christmas, I'm like, it's Christmas. And I was just like, I go all out and it's like in my whole house a winter wonderland. I am like insane for Christmas, but I will say
great Christmas cards quoting He-Man.
Exactly. Yeah, you know. But yeah, with Halloween, it's harder to do it. It's hard to pull it off. The older you get and the more you celebrate Halloween, the more you look kind of insane. You know,
It's
you look like
true.
the Addams Family, but like without the fun kitsch factor.
Which I love the Addams Family. How come they haven't tried to reboot that yet?
Yeah. You know what we need? We need a Halloween con. That helps. That would help really solve the solution. I remember when New York Comic Con was in October, and it was like, oh, it was perfect. Not anymore. Well,
so
it
many
was. It
people
was just
who would go to a Halloween con if you threw it too.
yeah. I don't know. I feel like a lot of people would go because like they don't have anything else to do. Especially because most kids aren't trick or treating anymore, which is sad.
Yeah, I couldn't believe. Yeah, that breaks my heart too when you told me that. I'm like, really? I thought it was just where I was.
No, I think it's everywhere, man.
That blows.
Which totally blows. Yeah, there's something to be said for like this weird phenomenon of put on a costume that makes you someone else, and then just run off into the night and
Yeah.
visit your neighbors and request them give you candy. That's awesome. And like, I think it's almost like if I were the tinfoil hat wearing type, I would say that it was like a deliberate attempt to stop that from happening.
Yeah, probably that. Also, maybe it's like we don't talk to our neighbors anymore anyway, so why do we want to go hang out with them and try and get stuff from
You
them?
only see them for 15 seconds. Trick or treat, candy in the bag, you move on to the next one. That's all you don't need to be like, "Hi, like
True.
let's go into your house and talk." Like, no, we got more houses to hit, man.
Yeah. It's a weird
I think it also has
phenomenon.
to do with people being more health conscious. People being like, I don't have time.
Probably.
I can't. What am I going to do with 16 pounds of candy? Like, that's horrible.
It's my exercise, man. I'm walking it off. I'm earning it all, walking up and down the block.
Exactly. But you're only doing that to get the candy. Then you just sit on your ass until Thanksgiving eating candy.
This is true.
We did get a lot of candy like the other year. It was great. We were like, what are we going to do with all this candy? Oh no. It worked too well.
What, were you like me too as the kid where your parents are always like, now you can have this much, but I know you're not going to?
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, my mom loves candy. So like she would be like, I'll be in charge of the candy. And it would just I would just lose more candy. Like every day
candy
there'd be less
tax.
candy.
Gotta kick the candy up.
Yeah. So I'd be like, I would start grabbing my candy out of it and creating a little separate bag that I'd keep in my room. That was for the candy that I'm like, don't eat this, Mom.